Hello everyone, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous, and this one is a correction to my state of the game, delay of NPCs, and to show you what I mean, we're going to take a walk over here to my freelancer. But before we do so, I just want to go over what I stated. I stated that it was in the dev tracker. It was actually on Meet the Devs, and it was one of their episodes, and they were talking about NPCs. Now, the misunderstanding there was that I was talking about NPCs that would be flying as your wingmen and flying as your backseaters inside of your ships. In actuality, when they're talking about the NPCs maybe not being hireable in the PTU, they are actually talking about the ones that you would hire to man stations on your ships. So that does include the people that would be in your backseat, the people that would be manning a damage control unit, a scanner, you could go through it, weapons control, whatever it might be. So let's go on the freelancer over there because it's the best opportunity to take a look. And this is the freelancer MIS, which is a light missile gunboat, I guess you want to call it. I just love my freelancers, and I will probably get a fat lancer at some point. Let's get in here and let's get in here and hit the use button and walk up in here. Now there's a crew of 3 in this ship, and we're gonna give you an opportunity to see what I mean. Back here, you would, if you were flying alone and had no organization mates or friends on, you'd have to hire an NPC to work this station, which I believe has something to do with rearming those devices up there, which are the missile launchers. Theoretically, you'll have about I guess about 40 missiles in here and 5 each on the racks ready to go. My thought process, nobody else's. Second thing, there is a station over here, and I believe this is an airlock, so you could actually close this off and use this airlock up here. This is not one that I believe that you would have to worry about an NPC using. Let's go up a little bit further. Let's talk about the things that are in the Freelancer. Freelancer is a science vessel also. It's got a lot of Xi'an technology in it. So we've got some stations here that would be able to be used by an NPC. Right now all they do is nothing. I mean, you can look at them, you can see that your hands are all ready to go, and these stations will be fleshed out after 2.0 comes out. So currently it would probably be a much better idea to have a human being here. As we walk forward, there's 2 more stations here. And I like the fact that you could sit in every single one of them. And again, theoretically, there's going to be some kind of a console here that you'll have to man. Maybe this is electronic countermeasures. Maybe this over here would be weapons system officer, somebody manning missiles and stuff like that. Co-pilot, pilot. And still, one last place to take a look at. I like to relive my days in the Navy whenever I go through an airtight or watertight seal and make sure it's closed. And that would be all the way back here up top, which I don't think you can get into yet. They don't let you. It just opens the door. But that is the rear turret. So in theory, you have a total of 2, 4, 5, 6 stations that could be manned at any one time. But you have a crew of 3, so they'll bop back and forth between them. So what I was talking about, and not realizing that I was talking about it, was, oh wow, it looks like we have some problems here with our hangar. We got to call in maintenance to repair this section. You are going to have a hard time in the beginning of the PTU, and not Squadron 42, with getting people to man these stations, if that's correct. I did start to ask Ben that question, but he said that we would have to get with the people, you know, with the devs, and he'd have to understand what they were saying, that they might have been crying wolf there, or just trying to set the expectation low so they could deliver. He expects that there will be some kind of NPC hiring as soon as the game goes live, because we are still about 12 to 18 months away from the PTU going live. So we should be seeing that in mid to late next year, as opposed to Squadron 42, which will be out in the Christmas season. Two different games, both in the same universe. All right, let's go in here. There really isn't a lot of stations in here yet. We have, I believe this is what brings down the table, but they have everything all moved and changed on this. But theoretically, you can have stations on this ship. What is going on? I guess we're stuck. That's pretty weird. That has never happened to me before. I guess I told it to sit down and it acted from halfway across the room. So theoretically, each one of these places will have some kind of station on it that you could man. And if you have a constellation like this is the Phoenix, there'll be quite a number of places that you'll want to have friends along with you. And again, when we're in the PTU and we're not flying with our friends, we might want to just run a mission or two. We might want to have NPCs man these stations. And of course, you'll have someone here to repair damage control back here on the engine, or maybe overclocking the engine for better performance, tweaking the shields, and of course somebody to fly the Archimedes, which will be down here. So I'm sorry about going a little bit off the handle there when I heard that NPC hiring may not be in the initial release of the PTU. I'd rather have something that works than something that's broken, because broken breaks the game, where having nothing at least forces you to do what you're supposed to be doing in an MMO, which is playing with your friends. All right, so next up, next week, I've talked to Darian Vorlik again. We had a Let's Meet Him interview on this show about a month ago, and I talked to him and he said that he would be willing to come back on the show to answer questions, kind of like Ben does. So if you want to hear Darian answer dev questions, please put them below. Not everybody gets to ask the dev questions. It's usually restricted to the subscribers, and I think that I give you a different forum for getting questions to Ben and questions to them. So let's get some questions for Darian. I've also asked Darian to get me in touch with Lisa Ohanian. She's the one that does Ship Shape on Around the Verse. We're going to do a quick video to get to know her, and then I'm going to have her on like I do Darian, and we'll be able to ask her questions. And she is doing the questions about ships right now, but when I do field those questions after that Let's Meet Her, I want us to think about the questions that we want to ask, because there's a lot of things that are just going to be answered soonish, or we can't comment on that right now, because CIG is being very, very, very careful about what they say about particular ships, because of how much how passionate we are about the ships that we like. So let's not ask questions that aren't going to be answered, and let's ask questions that we know can be answered. Now the question there would be, how do you know which ones can and which ones can't be? Well, folks, that's a hard question, and I guess that means just ask me all your questions, and I'll pick through them and use the ones that are best suited for those shows. I really enjoy talking to you folks. Thank you very much for all the feedback, both negative and positive. Remember, negative feedback keeps me on my toes, keeps me in line, and keeps me on track. I want to be the most accurate place to get your information, or I want to be the provider of the most accurate information I can be. So thanks again, and with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.